What the hell is that?
I think a brony drew that. Wait, aren't you one of those?
Don't remind me. I love this show, yeah. It's got great writing, it's fun, it's colorful.
Hey, nothing against the show itself. I'm talking about the fan base.
Don't get me started. There have been a ton of great things to come out of the fan. Decent stories, fan animations, fan art, and a loving and well-knit community. But just like every fandom, there's the ones that take it a little far. We'll start with the bad and end with the good. The first thing I'd like to address is the toxicity amongst the fans, of which I've personally witnessed, and it's just ridiculous at times. It's not everyone, but it's a lot of people. This, like a majority of these topics, were problems back in the original fandom. Around Season 3 to Season 6 or 7 is when I'd personally say the fandom had some of its worst moments, but there are still some original pieces of cringe from the first 2 seasons as well, and it's just disturbing.
But that, simply put, is just cringy. People can be cringy and overzealous with things. The actual animosity, though, is between people in the fandom. As much as I hate the term influencers.
People, for example, like Webcake and Lilypete.
Oh yeah, by the way, I did a video on Lilypete a while back. I was by no means the first person to do a video on her, and most videos on her only got a couple thousand views. Josh Scorcher at the time did the most popular video on her with over 100,000 views. But when I did my video on her, it somehow got 700,000 views. I think that might be more than every video on Lilypete combined. When I first saw Lilypete, the first thought that crossed my mind was, wow, I didn't know Ben Shapiro had a sister. I'm not saying they share the same political opinions, not in the least bit. I'm saying they both talk really fast. To call Lilypete a left-wing extremist would be an insult to every left-wing extremist. Lilypete believes that the person who made Steven Universe, Rebecca Sugar, sympathizes with German soldiers in World War II. Why? Because she thinks that killing is wrong. Lilypete has a massive hate boner for Josh Scorcher. She has tried to lie and slander him. Unfortunately for her, she got debunked by her own evidence. Yeah, by the way, everyone, this is someone people actually think is smart.
I do not cave to threats. I do not cave to grabbing all your mates and dogpiling me. Josh tried that crap. Twice, and that's someone with a massive and rabid fanbase who will go so far as to dox me and threaten to kill me and my family, and it still didn't get me to stop calling him out on his bullshit.
Wow, Josh did that? That doesn't sound like him. And you're not showing any evidence of him telling his fans to attack you. So I guess I'll just check out Josh's video for myself.
So I am begging, pleading, everyone who watches this video, do not go and leave death threats or harassment on Lily's video. Please. That's not acceptable under any circumstances. It's not right.
You call this someone sending their fans after you? He's on his hands and knees begging for his fans not to attack you. But to be fair, maybe you're talking about the other video. Well, looking at his description from the very same screenshot you showed, he's telling his fans not to attack you! And as far as I'm aware, Lilypete has not made a response video to my video on her. Lilypete does not understand why people don't like her. However, she did make a Tumblr post claiming she did know why people didn't like her. Her examples were things I never even brought up in my video, ironically proving my point. Good job, Lily. I'm not saying Lilypete has to make a response video to every video that is made on her, but mine got 700,000 views. Come on, Lily, at least something. There's also Webcake. I think I know about her. She got about 50,000 plus subscribers and started her channel around August 4th, 2012.
I'll take over this one.
Wait, who are you?
I should be asking you who you are.
Don't you bully my low subscriber count.
Besides, I'm pretty sure I'm more informed enough to talk about this part. Drama-wise, she's had her fair share, from what I understand. Starting with something recent, she apparently called out someone for disappearing after receiving public funding to aid in their cancer treatment. She's since apologized for it, not noticing the woman in question's long letter to the fan about why she departed, and thanking people for their generosity. Most of what she's done is simply jumped into conclusions over some things, possibly lacking the will to research something before she speaks about it. But hey, everyone's made that mistake every now and again. We all talk about things we don't truly understand, or at least things we think we understand. As Jar said in his old video on Lily Orchard, doing videos almost exclusively on a show that is not going to last forever is not the best way to focus your YouTube channel. A lot of brony analysts used to be big, but now have dying channels. Sorry about this, guys. Dr. Wolf has over 100,000k subscribers, but only gets 5k per video on average. Lightning Bliss only gets about 3,000. I Love Kim Possible a lot. Is not doing much better. MLP Silverquill and Firebrand, aka FOB Equestria, aka Josh Scorcher, are still doing good for themselves. And I like to think, oh, I kinda do good. Then again, I diversified my content, but whatever.
Two examples of good influencers that I used to watch and personally enjoyed when I was younger are Meliminus and Little Shy FIM. They both basically do the same thing, although Meliminus focuses on the more satirical aspect of teasing the show, while Little Shy focuses on consistency issues, animation errors, and plot or script errors. Two different slices of a cake, but the same cake nonetheless. Aside from that, there's one major thing I'd like to address that has bothered me for many years. Like with any fandom that has any tie-in to children, pedophiles will carefully make their way into it and try to manipulate children using the fandom or the things they enjoy as a manipulative tool. This absolutely pissed me off whenever I saw something like this, be it news or whatever, because it was just spreading like wildfire everywhere. It's nearly unstoppable. But what angered me about it was the fact that people were blaming the entire fandoms of which anything similar was associated, which is what always happens in these situations. For example, when there were pedophilia scandals in the Minecraft community not too long back, that practically destroyed the entire community for years. It's recovered recently with the newer updates and whatever, but it's taken a while. But there's a specific situation I'd like to talk about, which I first heard around mid-2015. I've wanted to talk about it for a while. Back in 2014 during BabsCon, an alleged case of sexual harassment and stalking of an 11-year-old child was reported. Allegedly, a little girl rushed up to a stand at the convention asking if she could hide under the table for a while. According to the girl, a man had been following her and even tried to get her to go into his room with him. Alone.
Another situation more recently in early 2018 revolves around Toon Critic 2K. Through screenshots, the internet was exposed to this man's disgusting behavior towards minors. Shown in this article from January 25th, 2018, he was caught red-handed socializing explicit sexual roleplays from a minor where they were roleplaying as themselves. They were not roleplaying as other characters, they were roleplaying as themselves, not their OCs. All the while he was reassuring her that he was not a Jared Fogle. Over time, this grew and grew, even to the point where they were beginning to discuss reenacting their sexual fantasies in a shared hotel room. He apparently came to the shocking realization that this thing, which shouldn't have started in the first place, was wrong, and he had to stop it. But the now 15-year-old girl decided to release about 500 plus screenshots showing everyone. Even some of his friends made a video, which has since been taken down, calling for him to turn himself into the police. These situations are sad and quite scary. It's sadly just part of the twisted world we live in. It isn't exclusively a problem with the MLP fandom, mind you. Something like this can put any fan base's reputation down the toilet, especially if it's a medium for kids. And unfortunately, fan bases that are meant to be for kids can attract people like this. As much as I don't like Lily Pete, she was one of the main people who brought this whole situation to light. Granted, she mostly did it to slander Josh Scorcher, but still, she did at least one good thing. even if she did it for the wrong reasons. That was a bit dark. Geez, you're gonna get this video age restricted.
A hamster chewing on a gumdrop could get a video demonetized now.
On a lighter, but still pretty bad note, how about we talk about the fan art now?
Good or bad?
DeviantArt.
God damn it.
Now, while it is true that most fan art is pretty good, there's always the underlying problem that every fandom suffers from: bad fan art.
Now one I have personal animosity for. Furries.
Nice.
You don't know the half of it. A majority of them have moved straight into the furry fandom, where they should be, but for a long time there were most certainly a shitload of them in the MLP fandom. I don't necessarily hate furries, but I just kinda wish they'd take their fursuit and go away.
Pretty sure that's contradictory.
Is it though?
What specifically did they do?
Well, it's not necessarily that they actually did anything bad. It's more or less the fact that they had nothing new to offer. At least, nothing anyone actually wanted. With them, they brought their fetishes, their fursuits, and their affinity for being animals. Or wanting to shag them.
That's like a fireman being surprised that he's called to fight fires. What did you expect?
Well, what I expected was for something to actually be brought to the table, as that's what was happening at the time. New people, new fans were just flocking in left and right from various corners of the internet. Star Wars fans, old school cartoon fans, or even people who just liked the songs. These were all people with different interests, different capabilities, and they were making things. But the furries didn't do much, at least from what I could find. It may be a case of the vocal minority, but all I ever really noticed the furries doing was things I listed above. Fetish art, fursuits, and animal affinities. That's why there's so much pony porn.
Well, their convention behavior record isn't exactly good. Remember Rainforest?
You mean that furry convention, back in 2015, that was shut down due to the attendees being disgusting, trashing the hotel rooms, and acting like animals?
Yeah, that's the one. I wonder if they did anything like that at other conventions.
What I could find, not really. Although I don't understand why they wore their fursuits to every type of convention, regardless of what it is. I was absolutely amazed at the amount of fursuits I saw at Anime Midwest in 2019. There were so many. I could give it a pass if they spruced up their suits with outfits or something to be cosplaying as some odd furry version of a character, but from what I saw, there was none of that, just fursuits everywhere.
I guess that's just how it is. What about the good things?
The songs in the show and the character interactions can be so...
Again, not the show itself, the fan base.
Fine. The fandom itself still has some pretty good songs. My personal favorites are the remixes, mostly being pieces done by Living Tombstone and Y Thunder Music. Animations made by the fandom can be pretty amazing. In the case of Blessed Sisters Play, clearly making fun of the Best Friends Play YouTube series, it can be extremely transformative. So much so that it basically becomes its own thing. Hey wait, Kamen, didn't you used to work with people like Silverquill?
Oh yeah! I've worked with a lot of people in the Brony Analysis community. People from Silverquill to Josh Scorcher to quite a few others too. Honestly, it's much like how anyone does crossovers with other channels would often work with each other on YouTube.
All in all, it's like many fandoms. Over time, it's grown and changed. Yes, it was young and cringy when it started out, but so are many fandoms. You take a step back and observe it all in one tight package, the fandom has more beautiful things to offer than you can bargain for.
I agree. Although it's not for everyone, there are still some neat things to be offered. I believe the biggest issue that it suffers from is the oversaturation of the fandom. Once a fan base starts gaining traction, more and more people jump on the bandwagon. The world has the same amount of weirdos, and when a medium is instantly recognizable, the vocal minority is the loudest.
You see, there could be one person who really enjoys this new show that just came out, and another who also really enjoys it. But person A is a creep, posting online about his weird, wild fantasies, crude and passable at best fan art, along with constantly non-stop talking about his obsession. Well, person B just loves the show for what it is. They'll occasionally post about it and maybe draw an amazing piece of fan art or write an intriguing short story about it, In both cases, not many people will care or notice, as if it's something new that hasn't been noticed too well. They will likely ignore it. However, the more recognizable something becomes, the more attention that is drawn to those that enjoy it. And although person B, who is making amazing fan art, will be praised, and feel excitement for the fact that new people are enjoying the thing that he first started to get into, people will also say what person A has to offer. Sadly, when negativity and cringe begins to build around a subject, it overtakes the public view. Then it eventually becomes all casual viewers see when they hear about the media being brought up. Whether it be Undertale, Five Nights at Freddy's, Fortnite, Sonic, even this very show. If you haven't touched it or hardly know anything about it, odds are you'll hear something negative before you hear something positive.
I'd just like to take a quick moment to put a huge thank you to everyone who watched this video, and I especially want to give a huge thanks to Jar and MangaKamen here. I've been watching Jar's videos for a while, taking some pointers and such, and formulated my own channel based off many things I saw with other commentary channels on YouTube, although I got the idea to get a sprite set from watching Jar's channel. My sub count is really low right now. 290 subs isn't exactly well known or anything, so to get an amount of exposure from someone I admire, I just absolutely have to say thank you again to Jar. This is something I have been looking forward to for a long time, and I'm very grateful. If you would like to check out my channel, it's in the description, and I'll comment down below just to say hi to you wonderful viewers. Thanks again!
Whoa now, stop everything. Before we go any further, I just want to give a shout out to 8-Bit Joseph. He's been a patron of mine for a while, and I forgot to put him in the credits. I feel bad for what I did, so I'm going to give a shout out to his channel and link it down below. I do care about my patrons, and if I make a mistake, I do what I can to correct it. Okay, now let's continue the credits.
My eyes have seen the glory of the cleansing of YouTube, debunking SJWs and feminazis too. We criticize reactionists in hopes they get the boot, just to roll on marches on